I'm going to have a look at the perceptions of time data set and the things that we can do with the box plots. If I go to graph box plot, and I'm going to do one with groups, I'm going to graph the guesses for how long you think 10 seconds goes for and split this up by gender or sex. Here we get some nice box plots. So this is the median across the middle here, which looks fairly similar across the males and the females. Now they've both got a similar spread actually, which is quite interesting, and the reason it's interesting is because the females seem to be more evenly distributed, whereas the males seem to be more bunched up with a few extreme observations. I don't know what that means, but it's very interesting. So if you wanted to have a closer look at what was going on here, maybe you could try some histograms or some dot plots. But what can we do with the box plot? Minitab's very nice. You want to add stuff to your graphs, just click on something, select an item, modify it, add titles, change the colors. What I might do is add a reference line for this box plot. Show reference lines at Y values. Well, let's try 10 seconds. So now that we've put this reference line in, we can sort of get a good picture of who is below 10 seconds and who is over 10 seconds. And we can see that most people underestimate 10 seconds. And some people thought 10 seconds had passed when only really 2 or 3 seconds had passed, which is bizarre, I would have thought. Now the upper quartile here is just above 10. That's 10.26, and it's similar for the males. Was that 10.12? So you can have a play with your box plots, put in some reference lines, change the colours. Now I'll just show you one other option for the box plots, what I don't think is a good idea. We were doing one Y with groups, so we'd basically taken one variable, which was our 10-second guess, and split it up into a couple of groups. You can do multiple Ys, which means you're actually going to plot data from 2 or more different variables. You need to be careful when you're doing this. I'll show you a simple one. So I'm going to graph the 5-second guess and the 10-second guess. Now the reason you need to be careful when you're plotting different variables, one, they can be on a different scale. So in this case they're both measured in seconds, but the 5-second is obviously going to be less than the 10 seconds. Now if this got further apart, if we were trying to measure guesses for 1 minute, you'd find that these would be squished down so low you wouldn't be able to see any information on them. So you need to be a little bit careful when you're trying to plot different variables together. You can also split this up into the groups as well. So if it was a sensible plot, and in this case it's okay because we can see what's going on here. If they were any further apart, I probably wouldn't want to plot them together. So we can do multiple Ys, which means more than one variable with groups, 5-second, 10-second, and again we can split that up by sex. Now I wouldn't split it up by age group, mostly because there are 5 or 6 age groups, and we would end up with 10 different box plots on one graph, and I think it might just get a little bit difficult to look at. Now we've got an option here for graph variables on the outermost scale or the innermost scale. If you don't know what an option means or what difference it's going to make, then you can just do it both ways and see which plot you like the best. So I'm going to take the top option, and we can see we've got the 5 seconds together and the 10 seconds together, and the female and males split for each one. And this is a good way to look at this data. The other option here would be to put the variables displayed on the innermost scale, and you'll see it flips those around. So now we've got the females all together and the males all together split by their 5 and their 10. I can't really see any difference here because this is probably not what I'm interested in for this particular graph. For another data set, this might be how you want to display it. So if you're not sure what you want to look at, then do it both ways and pick which graph looks more sensible. In this case, I would probably choose this one.